Hello, my friends. Today's reading is going to be a little bit deep and intense, but really addressing some of the collective individual issues many of us have been going through as a result of these deeply challenging times that took us a little bit by surprise over the past year and a half. So this video may be a little bit triggering to some of us, and I do recognize that it is a little bit ballsy to put this out, but I really felt called because I think there's many of us right now that are going through very, very difficult mental health struggles, a lot of confusion and pain that we really do not understand. A lot of us do not understand. It's kind of coming out of nowhere and seemingly for no tangible, obvious reason. Maybe some of the treatments we've been trying have not been working super well. So I kind of just really want to dive in deep. And I think another thing is that to recognize that this 2020 situation has been very transformative to each and every one of us in our own unique way. You know, whether it is through loss, through having to be alone with ourselves more and dive in that way, through a lot of change and transforming our life path, and maybe through gain in some situations. But regardless, I think now's a good time where we are coming to a point in this cycle of collective transformation where it is not yet over, but we're starting to be able to see what's happening in this world maybe a little bit more symbolically. So I want us to take the time to honor that and honor the pain we've had to go through, the deep transformation and introspection, whatever it is, however difficult it may be. I really want us to take the time to reflect where we are at right now and what this journey has been for us uniquely, and how we might be able to start picking ourselves up from that, wherever we are right now. Okay, so today's reading is going to be another pick a pile reading, and I've got 4 groups for us today. And in this reading as well, I will be revealing what the other side of each card is, almost as a separate guide for you in this trauma or this painful, challenging time that you are experiencing. But I want you to go ahead and meditate on these piles while I'm briefly introducing them, and see which one you are drawn to, because that is going to speak most closely to the nature of the challenges you've been experiencing in this time and what these challenges are trying to tell you in terms of your own unique pathway and your growth. Okay, so we've got here pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, and pile 4. So again, I want you to choose which pile you are most intuitively drawn to. This can be through sight, the colors, potentially the numbers and the timestamps or the number of the pile. This can be sonically, like if one of them reminds you of a certain sound, sensory, feeling, kinesthetic. Did you get a certain feeling when I introduced each of these piles? Again, gestational, was there a taste or a smell that came to you that felt like a sign calling you to one of these piles? Also, there may be multiple piles for you, or there could be a message in each one of these piles for you. Sometimes for me, I feel drawn to more than one, and I find that there are messages in both piles for me, or there's only one that was for me, but I wasn't quite sure yet. Sometimes, we have trouble like sorting out which direction to go in. That's okay, because ultimately after you watch the entire reading, you will be able to know, yes, this is for you, or no, it's not for you. Okay? If something really does not feel right and really does not feel like it's meant for you to follow, then definitely just go with your own gut. But, again, some of these messages might be a little challenging, and you might want to sit on something too and decide, maybe is this a perspective that would benefit me to incorporate in my life? All right, so I will let you sit here and meditate on these for 1 minute. Please feel free to pause the video if you need to, and I will leave links to the timestamps below, and I will see you at your reading. Bye-bye. Alrighty, hello pile 1. Thank you for joining me today in this reading. Let's get right into it. I just want to say for you pile 1, I just kind of want to reach out and give you a big hug, because you so deserve it. You've gone through a lot, and you've been really calm and patient, and I don't want to like cuddle with you because that's creepy, but you deserve warm cuddles right now. This time has been very humbling to you, very humbling. And before we get into the whole spiel, I just want to let you know this is the card that you picked, was the Moon card, which is yearning desire in this particular deck. But the Moon, it's a very, very beautiful, complex card, just like you right now. Pile 1, it's very much about tuning inside and finding answers deep within, and understanding the duality of life, and understanding things from a more symbolic perspective rather than a logical or practical mathematical perspective. Okay, and it's a very strong card in my opinion. It comes for only a very strong person that can understand what they feel and go off in intuitive sense. It's having to understand that you do have the answers to go forward. Somebody retreating and going on their own journey, and knowing the way despite what others think, if others think they're crazy or chaotic or not making sense, but knowing this will work out, and it's all I have to move forward and to find success. We need to nurture the very deep innermost parts of ourselves in order to move forward. Things aren't always going to line up perfectly on paper in order for us to succeed. There are some nonsensical parts of ourselves that need to be paid attention to and nurtured before we move forward. Okay, so a little bit about what you've been going through, pile 1. what it seems to me is that there was a little bit of unfairness going on at the start of this pandemic for you. With this justice card in reverse, something did not quite work out and something was not fair, whether this is, a job situation, relationship, family issues, friendship, or just something in general that you felt logically you deserved. It did not quite work out. This justice card, when upright, it represents like cause and effect. So like if we're, if we work hard, we expect to succeed, right? If we are kind to others, we expect usually we will get kindness in return. And for you, maybe you were very kind and received for some reason a lot of negativity coming towards you. And, you couldn't quite figure this out because it didn't quite make sense. And I'm just going to tell you, there was so much unfairness. There is so much unfairness about this pandemic. We've been kind of like clearing out the cobwebs in at least Western society of how unfair our society has really become. Not even just with the pandemic, but with a lot of racial issues, wealth issues, health issues, gender issues, etc. There's been a lot of addressing of that, and that has built up for years, but it's also really hit hard now in these times. And on top of everything else going on with the virus circulating, we're kind of being brought this awareness at how deeply unfair our society lives and our society is structured. Okay, so this is for me telling me that was kind of like a deeper realization and experience for you at the beginning, or sort of what is leading this whole transformation for you. And as a result of that, and it's beautiful, we're seeing this moon card here again. So we've got the moon, you chose the moon, and bam, that's synchronicity right there. We've got the moon card. Sorry if this is blurry. Smack dab in the middle of your spread here. So, and this High Priestess in reverse, which is like a moon junior. High Priestess is like the baby moon of the Tarot Major Arcana card. And the fact it's in reverse, and that's okay. I think doesn't really matter, but I think for you it's just saying, this unfairness was confusing towards you. Of course it is, it would be confusing for anybody. I think a lot of things now do not make sense and still do not make sense, but you kind of holding that confusion within a little bit and really sitting on it, maybe repressing it a little bit, not telling others why you're so confused, because you can't even put this into words. You don't even know why. You maybe don't want others to feel bad for you. I think that was really hard for you, and you having to deal with that on your own. I'm sensing, on your own, and kind of the High Priestess reversed directly into the moon. I mean, it's telling me, you having to very much get in touch with your intuition here, very much get in touch with your internal vibe, how it feels. If you ever just turn your attention inwards and can feel all the little trickling sensations inside your body, maybe can smell some smells, hear some little sounds. If you have not gone through this yet, if you have not tuned inward, absolutely, this is the time to do that, because this is the pathway for you right now. Pile 1 is to get in touch with that intuition, very much so. This Four of Swords, again, I feel for you on this pathway, there's been a little bit of depression, but also a sense of renewal in having to really rest your body, recuperate, and find balance in the body and the mind. I'm sensing a lot of being humbled by what happened for you in this pandemic, being very humbled and coming out of this, with a, like, I don't know exactly like how to put this, but coming out with a sense of wanting to be nicer to yourself, wanting to be kinder, more gentle, maybe more gentle with others, and less practical, less by the books, less about this sense of justice and fairness that we've had our whole lives. Rationally, this makes sense to do things this way, but coming out of this time period of rest with this sense like kindness is the answer. And I think what I mean by that for you, it could be kindness to others, and I think that's just a natural byproduct of this, but really kindness to yourself. I need to be kind and gentle with my body and with my mind and my soul. I need to let all three kind of be in a healthy relationship with each other, come and support one another with the tools that I have that are the stronger parts of me. I need to use that strength, those stronger parts of me, to help recuperate the less strong parts of me. Okay, to help build those up so I can find more of a balance, so I can find more harmony between my mind, body, and soul here. Okay, and I want to go in a little bit of like a linear story order pathway for you, pile one. So I'm gonna pull a few more cards from the Lightseers Tarot deck to see in this current chapter, this current theme, what was the chapter, what was the state that you were in before, and what is the state that comes after, comes as a result of this journey. Okay, so we've got the Star and the Knight of Cups coming before you. Okay, and then we've got the Sun card, the Emperor in reverse, and the Hierophant. A lot of major arcana for you, actually, which is telling me kind of this is a very, very pivotal moment for you. So I feel like if you don't feel like you've had to go inward and be involved in your intuition and go through something very deep in this pandemic time, this is probably not the pile for you. Okay, I'm just gonna say, like, I know this might have impacted us harder than others, but if you do not feel like you've had to make a significant change in the pandemic, like within yourself, regarding yourself, and your finding harmony within, yeah, I'm probably not speaking to you. But anyway, so on this linear timeline, okay, we've got the Star and then the Knight of Cups coming before all this. So I'm feeling like, this may have very well, this unfairness may very well have been about a relationship. It is likely that it was a romantic relationship, but also, I'm getting vibes that it was like a family member too, or just somebody that you were very, very close to, that you experienced a lot of joy with. And as a result of the pandemic, you having to be separated from them. Okay, as a result of the pandemic, I felt like this person with the Star here too, was giving you hope, giving you light. I mean, I feel, you were very close to this person. If not, it could have been like a job or just some sort of thing that you were very, very passionate about, that you felt an intimate connection to, like that filled you up with joy and happiness, and like you had a lot of excitement towards it and hope towards it, and everything was really going well in this circumstance, and all of this happened, and it had to end. Like, you were broken off from it in some way. And I think and I know, we all know, like, it wasn't fair, it wasn't okay. But when we look at things from a symbolic point of view, we can see there's a message for us in every situation. And not to sound really cheesy, but everything does happen for a reason, okay? And what's happening here is the reason why you had to experience this breaking up or transformation or unfairness is because the divine energy wants you to go inward. It wants you, I feel like, I'm not even gonna say you were on the wrong pathway, but I feel like that pathway had to shift drastically in order for you to really get what you wanted out of it, in order for you to grow, and in order for you to level up, okay? Because what I'm seeing now, again, is coming with this Sun card. The result of this pathway is success. Plain and simple. Like, because you effing deserve it. You deserve this joy, this happiness, and this level up. And, with this Emperor in reverse card, I'm just seeing that this is gonna come as a loss of needing practical answers for everything, needing to live in a super structured, controlled way. Also, like, what you're going through right now, in understanding that things aren't always fair and we don't always have control over every situation, you are, understanding how to live your life that way, in a more intuitive way, in a way that you don't have to do everything by the books, because that that's not always going to happen. And sometimes, like, there is divine energy trying to steer us in a different way, in a different pathway, because of things that we can't yet see. And for you are a person that very much needs to tune into that, okay? And that is what's going to bring you success. And this Hierophant card, I'm just really seeing a big purpose of this, I feel, is to, first of all, like, teach others these ways. Teach others what you're learning, like, a little bit. The Sun kind of represents the child, and but not in a fool's way, like almost like an adult child. And then the Emperor is like the father, and that's in reverse. So I feel like it's like, no, I am experienced, I'm wise now, but I realize, like, the way to live life is to follow your joys, to follow your passions, and follow the light, not so much try to control every aspect of life, okay? All right, and then I'm gonna pull some cards from the Mystic Mondays deck just to talk about here, what is your lesson? What is the lesson? Overall lesson that the divine has in store for you as a result of this pandemic 2020 trauma. When I talk about looking at things symbolically, this is what I mean. We can look at things symbolically as looking at them as a lesson. So what we've got for you, One, we've got the Knight of Swords in reverse. We've got the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Cups. The Six of Swords in reverse. This King of Pentacles. And then this Five of Pentacles. We've got a lot of lesson cards for you. Okay, so what I'm getting very much for you, Pal One, is weirdly, this lesson is all about finding this sense of security and foundation deep within. I think that's why the Spirit wants you to dive into your intuition, to have this time to rest, recuperate, and to understand your inner voice, what your mind and your body and soul is telling you, because they want you to start having a more stable foundation within yourself, be able to stand your own ground, to stand by yourself and be okay with that. Be okay with simplicity, really. Be okay with whatever life throws at you. Maybe being okay with loneliness or loss in some way, because you know that at the end of the day, you are here for yourself and yourself as number one. Yes, we are here for others, but we have ourselves to live with for our whole entire lives. And so therefore, our most important responsibility is to ourselves, okay? And to make sure that we are taken care of and that we are stable and able to stand on our own 2 feet without anybody else's help, without anybody else's validation. Okay, so this Knight of Swords, like, it's telling you that you don't need to have all the answers right away. And I think with this Six of Swords in reverse as well, like, you don't need to go out and seek out answers from others, but holding on to what you have, that you have the resources that you need if you look within, if you look carefully, okay? And this Four of Cups here, this idea, it's okay to have bad days. It's okay to be in a bad mood sometimes and like depressed. But this idea that happiness is only going to come to us if we choose to let it. Once we are done with this confusion, once we get to a certain point, we realize that we don't need confusion, we don't need hardship. That simply, if we just decide to, we can be happy. So it's telling you to choose happiness. Just, I'm getting very much a message. Again, if you look at like the image on this Six of Swords in reverse, how it's like reversed, it's coming back to you. So it's saying like, we might not be ready to move on entirely. Let's find out why. Why is that? And that's okay if we're not. Don't just go out and jump into something right now because we feel like it's time. We feel like others are pressuring us. No, you know, when it's time, it will be time. But you can take all the extra time that you need right now to figure this out. And again, about this resourcefulness, I kind of love how these cards are next to each other, almost opposites. We've got the King of Pentacles, who's just like filled with abundance, and then the Five of Pentacles, talking about like loss and change, a time a little bit of desperation, right? But also, you know, a temporary time and a time where we realize we don't need everything in this world. And I feel like these two are looking at each other, right? And I feel these are two parts inside of you that can really help each other out. Knowing the experience of loss and the experience of rapid change and what that feels like in times of need, how that really does help you and help your growth and transformation. But also having this King of Pentacles, knowing what it's like to be abundant and to be this force of powerful abundance that takes things in. And so we've got this very abundant part of you, but we've got this almost completely depleted part of you. Use those two parts to help each other, to help balance yourself, okay? Because the goal isn't 100% to be this rich bitch, like to have every success in the world, but when times are tough, use this power inside of you that knows how to take care of yourself. Use this part of yourself that is already in a space of abundance what do you have? What parts of your life are you already abundant in? You might feel like you're completely at a loss, but actually that's not true. So what parts of your life are you abundant in? And how did you get there? Why are those things working out for you? And how do I take some of that energy of abundance and apply that, use that to some of the places where I feel I have no abundance, where I feel I need to generate more power towards? And it's about, mitigating and balancing those out. Looking inward for the answers and just thinking very much every day about that sense of stability. Okay, resting, being with yourself, being stubborn, putting up boundaries between you and the rest of the world, at least for like a few minutes every day. Just being with yourself, just being inside of yourself, okay? And I'm gonna pull some final guidance cards from the Soul's Journey lesson cards deck for you, all right? And we're going to be asking, what final guiding advice do we need to seek? For you, okay? Alrighty, pile one. So the first card that came out, we've got the Death card. It says, I'm learning that endings are merely beginnings. Okay. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit speechless that this is coming out. I want to extend out just the warmest virtual hug to you, pile one, because I know you may very well be a person that has experienced death as a result of this pandemic, as a result of this virus, or just honestly there's many other ways that can happen. I want you to know, and the Spirit is telling you, this was not fair. This was not necessarily fair, and I want you to every day make sure you're taking the time to go through your grief and to take this experience to learn from. Take this person and situation and use it to grow from this and really help you expand to be a more evolved version of yourself. And I just honestly, because this is so big, I want to read the whole spiel in this book about this card, because I feel you need to know the whole message. All right, so death is an illusion. It is a fact of life that the human body we use to travel the earth must eventually stop working. It is not meant to exist forever. The energy and consciousness that inhabited that body is free and returns to its natural home, but it never abandons us. Learn to view death as merely a change, and everything must change, because stagnancy extinguishes progress. The same is true for a relationship or a career. A soul lesson may be completed, and it is time to move beyond this point of familiarity and expand into new horizons of learning and development. This is a wonderful opportunity to thank those other souls in your life who have shared part of your path and taught you so much. And for me, the last sentence really resonates on a personal level, my experiences with death. But I think whatever that message is for you, whatever the loss and death, whatever the pain feels like, when you really go down and ask yourself, why are you so upset by this? I mean, there's probably countless reasons. There might be countless reasons, but I feel there's usually like one lingering thing inside that you're so upset about. And that source of pain is going to be your way forward. It's a new strength that you are supposed to develop in this lifetime, in this time period of your life as a result of that. And absolutely know that whatever this death is, even if it wasn't a person, I believe there was something very, very painful that had to change in your life. Death is not easy. Whatever kind of death, like physical death of a person that we know and love, or this could be about the collective deaths going on and how hard that was, but also it could be an ego death. That is very, very painful. It's very hard to let go to something that we feel is such a big part of us, but whatever brings us pain also brings us the greatest strength. So just know that. Okay, and then we have your next card. We have friendship. I understand that a friend is in my life for a reason. Okay, so what I'm getting from this very much is that as a result of death, this could be of a friend or not, but I feel there are new people coming into your life and you are weeding out situations and friendships that were no good for you. And either you're seeing it come now or you will see it in the future. But as a result of this, you are welcoming in new friendships and real friendships. People that will honor you for you. People that will not judge you for being who you are. Okay? And I feel we needed to experience this death in order to move forward and to build up new relationships in our lives that are going to help support this newer person and this newer pathway that we want to follow and that we need to follow in this time, okay? And yes, exactly, growth, okay? I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. So you have experienced a big, big loss, and it's basically transformed you as a person. And the Spirit wants you to know 100% you are going to grow so much, like just a beautiful, gigantic flower. Like I'm thinking of my bromeliad plant right now. It's just like such a bright, colorful flower stemming up around all these green, long, lengthy leaves. And you've just got this like big, beautiful orange flower in the middle. That's what I feel like you are. Because there's been so much change and loss for you, that is making way for so much growth and so much potential in you right now. If you can look at your life symbolically, if you can look at your life from a bird's eye view, without your ego and without your emotions involved in what is happening and all the little mundane, material details, you can understand how much you are growing right now. And you know what? When we grow really fast, we have growing pains. So keep that in mind. Growth is not easy. Maybe one day you feel like, I really am progressing here, but the next day you're like, it's really hard again. I don't want to do this. It's every day is not going to be the same. Every day is not going to be beautiful. We don't always have this upward step-by-step movement, but just know at large here that this situation is all about your growth, And if you follow it, if you surrender to what the divine is trying to tell you, what the divine is trying to give you right now, you absolutely will become the most beautiful person, so unique in your own individuality, in your own pathway. Okay, so just know that you are growing right now, and this situation was absolutely meant for your growth. This is like such a significant milestone for you. This might be like a dark night of the soul, but whatever it is, all of this around was meant to make you stronger, okay? And the last card, loneliness. I know that I'm never alone. So again, I do really feel that a big part of this pandemic trauma for you is regarding relationships with others and or like some significant relationship here. But loneliness, I'm just going to tell you like what I've been seeing a lot on YouTube is all these people coming out now and saying like, I am X age and I have no friends. And I know some people are like critiquing these videos, just natural with YouTube and social media, but I think it's actually really a beautiful thing. Like people are coming out from all over the world in all different circumstances, like saying, you know, yeah, I don't have friends, you know, I might have other things going on in my life, career, relationship, success, but I have no friends. And I think whether or not that is something that you're going through, feeling like you have nobody, or it's just feeling like you have nobody to listen to you. If we think about this at large and we think about the idea of the collective unconscious, there are so many people experiencing the same thing as you at the same time, or that have experienced the exact same thing as you at a different time or at a different space, or at the same space at a different time, you know, or in right next to you without you even knowing. And when we recognize this, and we recognize that loneliness is just a part of life, is just you know, sometimes we are meant to be more by ourselves for a reason, in order to find ourselves more, in order to have to pick ourselves up, in order to find some information inside ourselves that we wouldn't have otherwise been able to do if we were you know, so booked up with social events. So there's always a time and place for solitude, and to not let that get confused with negativity. It might be like very hard, but try to balance that. Like you don't want to become a hermit completely for the rest of your life. You know, we do need others to grow, but right now might very well be the time to retreat inwards and figure this out on your own in order for you to come out stronger and really, you know, be this hierophant, to be this great teacher, this very wise individual that can help others find their own calling and listen to their own intuition. You know, solitude can be painful at first, you know, but when we understand that it's for a larger reason, we can give up some of that control. And it may seem like forever that you're never going to find other people, or you're always going to be by yourself. That's simply not true, okay? There's a time and a place for everything. And just because others live a more social life overall than you doesn't mean that it's your calling to do the same, okay? There is greatness on the other side for you. And I think this time is really a time to go within and to find what that is. And when you go within and you realize the true nature of yourself and your being, you start to realize how connected you are to so many other people on this earth. And I think that's what is coming for you. You know, you are changing so much, and I think so rapidly right now, Pile One, that you need to be alone, because you're not going to be able to figure out the situations and the people that you need if you don't first understand yourself, if you don't first stand on your own 2 feet and come into this okayness, and not even just okayness, like awesomeness with your own presence, like just loving hanging out with yourself. If you have not realized this already, this is very much what this time period is for you, to come out on the other side and honestly like almost be a completely changed person. Like it's almost like this is like a totally new, not only chapter in your life, it's like a new book. Almost like you're gonna come out and people are not even gonna recognize you. So I just want you to know that whatever you've lost during this time, it is 100% for a reason. And if you're still trying to hold on to those relationships from the past, it's just going to hold you back even more. I hope you know in this time that you are a changing person, and those past relationships just won't serve you. Like, they've had their purpose and they were great while they lasted, and there are so many more relationships in store for you. There's so much more greatness and entertainment in store for you, but it's going to be completely different. You're going to meet people in a completely different way now, and you have to just trust. You have to trust and open up and go through what you need to go through right now. Work on yourself. Work on finding that stability within yourself, and all else will follow. Okay? That is what I have for you today, pile 1. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye. Hello there, pile 2. How are we today? Thank you so much for joining me. If you picked pile 2, this is the reading for you regarding your current pandemic trauma, COVID trauma, 2020 trauma. Still haven't figured out the title to this video yet, but anyways, without further ado, let's get into it, okay? So I just want to first let you know the card that you picked at the beginning of the video was the Star card. And in this deck, the keywords are hope, inspiration, and nature. I'm not sure if you can read that, but anyway, so the Star card, one of the brightest, most illuminating cards in the tarot deck, if not the most. And I apologize today, my street is extremely loud, lots of busy cars, so there might be some auditory distractions today, but hopefully the message still gets through. Anyways, so the Star is all about finding hope, finding that light at the end of the tunnel, brightness and, reward, and being inspired to find joy in situations around us rather than sorrow. And, I'm getting that sense for you guys, not for all of you, but at least for some of you, you are a little bit of an optimistic person. Maybe not all the time, but you do have that ability within yourself to find the light in a situation. And I feel that this time for you has, been about that. Like you've gone through some challenges. There's been challenges for you for sure. But you always have the ability to really reap the benefits out of any situation, whether it's good or bad, however challenging it may be. And that is really what I see what's going on for you right now. If you haven't seen it yet, then I'm here to tell you this very much will happen for you. A lot of positive upgrading transformation going on, where you're really stepping into your power. And I'm going to tell you, this King of Wands, I shuffled the deck like a few times before I was even like fully asking the question for you, pile 2, and this King of Wands kept on just coming out upright. So I almost put it at the top here because I feel like it's almost an important indicator for your reading. But this King of Wands is all about stepping into your courage, like the ultimate leader position, courageous. And I feel like the beginning of this whole journey for you, and actually the whole purpose of this journey for you, is about stepping into your power, battling your fears and finding the courage that has been lying dormant inside of you for so long, for so long. I'm getting a sense like this very well might have been regarding a career or financial situation, in where now you're really like reclaiming financial freedom, working for yourself, starting your own business, something like that, something that I feel there's been deep fears inside of you that, just have been doing you no good for so long. And I feel because you have a little bit of an optimistic side to you, you had the power to look at those fears and fight them, like question them and say, do I need this fear? Is it valid? Or is it only just holding me back right now, And, this Eight of Swords in reverse, it's an indication for, at least for some of you, there is some trauma that you had to release in this time period. And it's an indication, the fact that it's in reverse, meaning that you will release that trauma in this time period as a result of the situations that happened to you during this pandemic, during 2020, 2021, whatever. This is, those situations carved a pathway for you to have the time and space to release those traumas and really to release those anxieties and those fears that were doing you no good, and they were only just kind of holding you back in life. So you're stepping up to the plate here. As a result of the situations around you, you are coming into your own power, working with yourself on your own here, okay? And I'm sensing for you, this is going to be very new, this idea of really taking charge of your life. And so you're going to experience maybe a little difficulty at first. There's going to be a lot of things to manage, and you're going to have to keep remembering to find balance, to look at the big and the small when planning things out, okay? And it's fine if you don't have the answers all right away. That's not going to happen because you're coming into this on your own for the first time here, okay? And in those moments where you feel scared, where you feel like you can't do it, remember this Emperor in reverse here is I think you're going to find and keep coming back to the idea you can't listen to others anymore. You've done your duties, you've been a great listener this whole time, and now is not the time for that. Now is the time to move on, move up, and take charge of your life, and you are the one making the orders, okay? Because you're gonna realize no matter what, I feel like you're gonna try to heed others' advice maybe, but find that it's not coming through, it's just not hitting the mark for you. You need to have ownership and dive into yourself for those answers, because you need to remind yourself you've done all this work and you've had all this patience, and now you're the one that's gonna call the shots, okay? I'm feeling feisty energy from you, Star. Whew, you just tapped into your third Manipura solar plexus chakra and you are going for it. And if not, you're definitely building up to that. Okay, this is gonna be a theme for you. And you know what is gonna happen? I feel at the beginning of this, there's gonna be some alone time. And I think that's an obvious, because that happened for many of us, having to go within. There's gonna be a spark, it could be where you came into your power and then others were oh no, we don't want that, please go away. And then you were all right, fine. I can't do this anymore, where I listen to you and follow orders, if this is not going to work out, this is not going to work out. That's fine. So I feel there was a time of having, of being in solitude a little bit, but what's going to happen with this progression while you're kind of learning how to manage your life and manage and balance and figure out how you want to proceed, you're going to eventually come out and be more connected to others. There's going to be people in your life that try to tell you what to do, or that try to tell you to live a certain way, remind you of ways of life or methods of life that they think you should follow. And those people are going to be honestly like no good for you right now. They're not going to be the people that are helpful to this growth that you're going through right now. You need, I'm not saying like necessarily followers, but you need support right now. And I think you are going to get support, and you need to just be around people that are in your inner circle of what you are trying to achieve at this point in your life. Okay. And you're going to notice situations and people by who I feel like you're almost going to have a body sensory reaction, or it could be mental, but you're going to know that the people that maybe are from this old self of you, this old self where you kind of are a little bit of a wallflower and just follow along what they say, those people you're going to feel depleted around. And then there's going to be new people that you find, or it could be your friends or family members that surprises you that they actually support your mission. But those people you're going to find are uplifting to you. You're going to feel like are part of your team. And so you're going to feel naturally drawn to those people and situations, and a shedding away of those people and situations that do not recognize and acknowledge your hard kick-ass power that you have. Okay, pile 2? Oh, love this. All right, so I'm just going to pull a few more cards to signify what was the past situation, the past chapter in our life that led us to this point, and then what is going to come out of all of this? You know, what is on the other side of this trauma, of this transformation, of this challenging period, okay? So we've got the Three of Pentacles and the Two of Wands about your past period. And yeah, again, like this Three of Pentacles, it's very much about teamwork. You know, so I feel like very strongly like this could have been a job situation, because you were like, and this Two of Wands in reverse, you know, you were working so strongly with others, you know, focusing so much on cooperation and what the group thought about the group dynamics, that, you know, you didn't have the time to yourself to plan your future, to be a visionary, to think about what you really wanted, okay? And once you figured that out, these people around you are like, okay, bye-bye. Like, you know, that you might not have support from everybody about following your dreams and following your desires, but that's absolutely okay, because you know what, pile 2, you don't need them, okay? And let me see, for the future, what's going to happen to you as a result of this change, as a result of this transformation. Okay, we've got the Fool. Oh my God, yes. It's like a new beginning here, okay? Yeah, this is a new chapter in your life. This is a new you. Oh my God, this is you, what you finally always wanted to become, that you were a child, but you couldn't because of all these like fears and shit around you, and probably what you were taught, like to be a good person, to cooperate with others, you know, to work with the team, you know, to follow orders. And you're like, but I have this spark inside of me. Like, I'm meant to be a leader. I'm meant to take charge of my own life. And oh my gosh, finally, as a result of having to go within, and as a result of having to confront those fears and bring up those fears to the light, you're able to now finally start that new pathway, okay? And then we've also got the Wheel of Fortune card in reverse, all right? So this is to me saying that no matter what happens to you, no matter what situations happen to you, you're going to be strong enough to fight past them, and you're going to be strong enough to deal with them and to not let anything negative get in your way. That coming forward, you're gonna realize you don't need to control situations, that life doesn't need to follow in the pathway that you thought was right, but that, life is basically a big adventure, and that when we give up control of having things go in a certain predetermined way, we can live so much more freely. And I think that for you is a big part of this fear, is like controlling a situation and trying to, I feel like karmically, you're trying to do what you believe is good or what other people have told you is good your whole life, because you feel like you have to do that in order to be successful and in order to have good things happen to you. But to realize that in every moment, we can tap into our intuition and remember like what is right for us, what is the right situation for us individually, not by the books necessarily. Okay, and what is going to empower us rather than make somebody feel happy for a short amount of time. Okay, living life without the fear of what will happen next. It's so beautiful. And then this Knight of Pentacles in reverse, okay? I'm just getting a sense, like, go back to this Page of Pentacles. This idea that you're gonna really be doing everything yourself here, okay? You're gonna be taking charge of your life, and you might not have help from other people, but that is the fate for you right now. And have a little bit of fun with it, honestly. Like, just whatever tasks you have to do that seem like more heady and fun and intellectually stimulating, or just like kind of mundane tasks, have some fun with it. Sing some tunes, enjoy having to do this where you build something from the ground up and like just kind of experimenting and testing things out. Enjoy living life without having to plan out every single next step and every single next situation of your life, but adventure and experience what is coming next, okay? Because I'm getting a sense for you, pile 2, that you've kept that from yourself for so long in this life. You've restrained yourself so long from just like letting loose and finding this real sense of freedom in your life. I feel like whatever you haven't done, whatever your fears have held you back from for so long, that is the pathway that you need to take right now. Whatever it is. It might not seem like the right thing to do. It might not seem glamorous, but this is absolutely your calling right here, right now. So, enjoy that adventure. Let yourself be adventurous here, okay? Because there's like a much bigger purpose for this time in your life. Okay, so I'm sensing like that's kind of hard for you to do, but whatever happens, whatever you feel like is holding you back from that, you've got to push through it and let yourself not think so much about the larger outcome here, not care so much about what others tell you is right and what your perceived notions of the correct way to live are. Yeah, and I just want to, regarding that, I'm going to pull some cards from the Mystic Mondays deck to tell us a little bit about what kind of lesson we're learning right now in this time period, okay? So, okay, we've got this Queen of Cups. Love it. See anything else? Princess of Cups in reverse. Princess of Cups and 4 of Swords. Any more cards about the lesson? Okay. This 3 of Wands, like, honestly came halfway, and I knew that it was like halfway. So I'm just going to turn it upright because I feel like that's the more, I feel like it's sideways, but they're telling me to just read it as a general card. So it's not upright nor reverse, but we're just going to look at it in the upright position here, okay? So I feel like a big part of this lesson for you is definitely about maturity. And like, that's why I said, you know, with this Fool in reverse, like it's almost like turning a new leaf, like reliving parts of ourselves that we were not able to experience. So it's this maturity in a way that's allowing us to start to do the things that we want, because we realize that we can't go on living a life that's meant for others. You know, we can't go on living a life that is not what we truly believe in. And another part of this, I feel, this Four of Swords coming right under the Two of Pentacles. Regaining balance is key for you. Like, just remembering that everything comes in moderation, and the Temperance card did not come out for you, but I feel like that is a very big lesson for you, to temper with things, like in a balanced way, to just make sure we're living on the full spectrum of our potential here, that our mind and our body are in sync. Whatever parts of us are low, use the strong parts to bring those up, to uplift those, and find some balance here. Again, with this Four of Swords being in the lesson cards, you know, I feel for some of you, or many of you, it's a calling to meditate and take some rest when you need it, very much so, in order to remember this state of balance. Because I think when we're finding our power too, like, it can be hard to sustain that. We want to be able to sustain that. So we have to go into a quieter space in order to kind of tune into our body and understand like our own internal rhythm and flow here. And what card came out very strongly was this Queen of Cups. And it's very interesting, like next to this Princess of Cups in reverse. And we also have this Princess of Wands in reverse too. Like both of the princesses, which are like the page child energy, are in reverse. But then we have this Queen upright. We have this King of Wands upright here. So that's what it's telling me. Like, it's about this maturity. Like, you know, I think the Spirit is saying like, you're ready to move on now. You're ready to take charge of your life now. Like, be an adult parent figure to yourself. Like, you're ready to manage and own all aspects of your life. You've done enough of the busy work, enough of the child work, enough of that time as a follower, as a listener. Now is the time to be a leader. And this Queen of Cups, I feel like you're starting to learn, and if you haven't already, it's part of your lesson in this time to feel emotions that you've never felt before, to open your heart. Like, very much like opening your heart chakra is going to be a big part of keeping your balance here and keeping your power. I also feel like there's going to be new relationships and fostering, or even old relationships, but holding on to and or forming those new relationships in which those people accept your emotions. And not only that, like, will help you keep the courage about yourself, will be able to enhance and uplift those beautiful, unique parts of you by being nurturing, and you also as well bringing that nurturing vibe to others, because you're being able to open your heart now and allow yourself to experience these emotions. With this Three of Wands here, you know, you're ready to move forward 100%. And like, I think you're in a mode of seeking whatever is going to bring you like harmony and balance, and you can see the pathway forward. So I think even more so, like, just remember to keep on visualizing that pathway ahead. I think this lesson for you is about progress and about finding yourself in the moment, tuning in to the moment here, okay? Being able to assess situations based on what's coming at you right now, based on what you feel, based on what your inner mother, would help you to do, and what your mind and body are feeling when they are in sync with each other in this moment. There is a sense of adventure, there is a sense of traveling here, or of, moving on to something bigger and better. But, with these two cards, it's very much just telling me there is this like homey, nostalgic, just personal feeling about these new voyages, that you're gonna have to get in touch with your quieter side in order to maintain this power, in order to maintain this courage and this charge ahead. That it's not all about, being out there and being social and outward, like yang energy, but the yin as well, restoring, finding that inner peace, inner calm. What does the inside tell me? And knowing that more and more and more, just practicing that more and more. What do my emotions want? How do I find this happiness? What am I feeling? Let's make sure I'm being nice to myself, and I'm, nurturing myself if I'm having a bad day, and letting others know about this, and being quiet and being calm and giving myself what I need. That's going to be so crucial to you getting ahead and maintaining this power. And I think that you are going to fall down without that inner power, without that inner steam and support, the yin. So yeah, I think very much for you, the yin to empower the yang inside of you that desperately wants to come out, that is already coming out, and it's the brand new you. Through that, you'll be able to move forward, all right? And last but not least, I'm going to just ask for some final guidance from our guides. We can think of this as our guides from above speaking to us, or just simply some guiding advice from the Soul's Journey tarot deck, okay? So we're going to ask for you, pile 2, what is the final guiding advice for you? Oh, wow. Okay, so we've got forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. Okay. So for you, pile 2, forgiving others that, have restricted you in the past, and have stood in your pathway, and have blocked your courage and your ability to succeed and move up in this world. And I think this might be a very deep lesson for you, and you might be like, oh, I forgive those people, whatever, it doesn't matter. It could be like, family members, like family trauma, friend trauma, work situation trauma, etc. But being able to forgive those situations, I feel, that worked against you, that made you fearful, releasing that trauma 100%, by realizing it's not, and with forgiveness, it's not about like that they didn't do you harm, or that they did, or like how bad was the harm that they did you in comparison to others. It's not really about that. It's just about recognizing that it is just kind of like a knob on the long line graph of life. That was like an awful metaphor, but it was an experience, and that experience made you who you are. And that's all you need to know. And, we can first recognize what happened, and recognize that we were hurt and maybe damaged a little bit by what others have done to us. But once we let that sink in, and begin to realize that we can take charge of our own life, we realize that we just don't care anymore about, others. And that's simply what it is, forgiveness. It's not you having to extend out. It's really merely you just letting go and realizing you don't really care because you just have other things to worry about. And that's like a really frank way of putting it, but honestly, that's kind of what forgiveness is. Using that situation, acknowledging what happened, but saying like, I won't let that get to me anymore. I don't need to be affected by it because it's just happened in the past. It happened in the past. Maybe the situation wasn't fair and there were awful, awful things that happened to me, but for my own benefit, I'm going to let go because the only person that is being affected by that right now is me. And I don't want to keep being affected by it. I don't want to keep getting let down because I have this thing held inside of me. So we start to realize that and we can forgive. But, forgiveness is a process, very much so. Okay, and let's see. What else do we have for you? Pile 2, we've got doubt. Yes. I release the need to know all the answers. And I feel like this is very big, message from Spirit coming down for you, because while you are trying to champion this new leadership position, this new power that you have, it might seem scary. You might not have all the answers at first, and you might be like, oh my God, like, is this right? Like, should I just go back to the old me? And I feel like this is very important. So I want to read, what the author has written about this particular card for you. So it's impossible for the human brain to comprehend the mysteries of the universe. You are only consciously aware of the 3 dimensions for a reason, and that is to learn to love without the full awareness of your connection to Spirit. Everyone has his or her own personal path to this awareness, and there is no right or wrong answer as long as your goal is to manifest the energy of love and compassion. The wisdom of the divine trickles into the physical dimension, and some of it will resonate with your soul and some will not. These are your signposts that guide you to your correct path. If the wisdom resonates with you and seems right, then keep it. If not, release it back to the universe. Always be aware and mindful of the insights that your spirit guides and teachers put on your path. Okay. And that's like kind of the lesson I want with these readings too. Like why I like to give these tarot readings out to people, and the pick a pile, and the main lesson I want people to know is that you will know if the tarot reading's right for you at the end. Like, and maybe some parts of it you're like, but to me, I feel like you're going to get at least like a 75% of it, or the majority, over 50% of it is right. And it might be like right enough for you to be like, okay, yeah, that is the reading for me. That is the message I need to hear. But if you just get a sense like, no, I already know this, or like, I think I know better for my life path right now, I think I'm seeking a different answer, then, that is the message, that is the guidance that you need to take in this time. Above all else, like tarot and myself are only here to kind of help give you what's deep inside that you haven't thought of, or that you didn't remember just now. So you won't know all the answers right now. And I think that's very much a part of what's going on. Like you're having to tiptoe a little bit towards this new truth, towards this new you. And that's a big part of this process for you, is a learning process. How do I know when to go forward? How do I know? How do I maintain not fearful? Okay. I feel like I want to tell you to get into like somatic therapy or something, or at least like chakra healing, because even if you just like get in touch with that Manipura chakra, the 3rd chakra, this maybe like why you picked this yellow stone, is because that chakra is so strong. And like when you feel that fire within, and when you keep doing work to feel that fire within, to feel that burning fire within, it will help you get past any obstacle that has to deal with fear and self-confidence. Like, trust me about that. You know, when you have doubt, and that doubt relates to your fear and self-confidence, remember that fire inside, and remember what activates that fire, because that fire is you. That fire is you and your self-worth, and that fire is telling you that there's nothing more important than your worth on this planet, okay? That nobody's feelings and nobody's desires will get in the way of that. That fire is stronger than anything, and that fire is going to get you through any kind of doubts and fears that you have going ahead. I will tell you that, pile 2, okay? And let's see if we have any more guidance for you, all right? What else does pile 2 need to know? Okay, we had two cards come out of here. We've got peace. I'm a being of love, and I release all negative energy. And balance, like I was saying, oh my God. Sorry, I got way too excited about that. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. What you are going through right now, pile 2, is so beautiful. I feel like all you want in this world is peace. Like, I feel like that is ironically your goal in all of this, is to you just want to be happy. You don't want to make others unhappy either. You want to be happy and you want others to be happy. But right now is your time for you to be happy. Right now, this like confidence and fire and like weird acting out, like maybe anger bursting out of you, is all in the name of peace and harmony for you and for others. It's all for the purpose of living a much more balanced life. And I think you know within yourself that if you do not do this work right now, if you do not find that internal fire, this peace and calm state and balanced state will not come. But when you are in doubt, checking in with yourself, bringing yourself back to that meditative state, the yin, in order to fuel the yang, and vice versa, okay? Vice versa, because it's time for you, pal, to start this new life and begin this new journey. There are no more fears that you need right now. And I think the world is opening up for you to allow you to experiment and allow you to move on and grow and figure this out, because that's what they want for you, and that's what's needed for you in this life to find this greater purpose. Alrighty. That's what I have for you today, pile 2. Thank you so much for joining me. I sincerely hoped this reading helped you and you've got something out of it. Please feel free to leave a comment below if you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye. Hello there, pile 3. If you picked pile 3, this is your reading about your COVID 2020 pandemic PTSD. Still not sure what I'm going to call this video yet, but bear with me. So let's start out, and I just want to reveal the card that you chose. Facing down was actually the World card, and if you've watched the past 2 videos, maybe you can pick up on the theme that yes, I'm using all of the astronomical cards for these readings that were underneath. Yours was the World, which is the last card in the Major Arcana. So beautiful. In this deck, the keywords are, I'm not sure if you can see the focus, but rewards, expansion, and destiny. Okay. This is going to be our major, I would say, symbolic archangel for this reading for you guys, pile 3. And we have the World, which is going to talk about this sense of fulfillment and this sense of inner peace and wholeness, which I feel like you as a person, pile 3, many of you, that's really what you're in search of here in this time, and what you've been kind of in search of most of your life is sense of fulfillment. In you want like all your ducks in a row kind of thing. You want things to feel like, you know, everybody's doing their part, everybody's playing a part in this larger thing that's going on. And you know, I feel like you are a person that has like glimpses of that throughout your life, you know, maybe through like moments of solitude or meditation, yogic practices, exercise, or maybe like you're a more social person and this is in a friend group, feeling like all of you kind of play a role in a larger, greater thing. And the main lesson or realization with this World card is the wisdom that all is one and that we are all one. So we all really do share similar feelings and experiences, maybe not always at the same times or places, but we've all touched so much depth of human experience in our lives and, you know, past lives, etc. And through that knowledge and that wisdom, that's where we can reach out and help each other and form the parts that make the whole. So that is the World card for you, pile 3. And I just want you to keep that in mind, keep that larger goal in mind as we're doing this reading, because I think for you, what's going on, your COVID trauma it's big. I mean, it's not just something that is happening recently, but patterns that you realize you've held for all your life or most of your life that you're really having to address now, and you're really having to reevaluate and look back on your life and how you've lived and what is working, what's not working here. Okay, so we have this first card that popped out, the Devil card, and you know, I kind of like how it's depicted in this Major Arcana, in this Light Seers deck, but we've got the Devil here, okay? And the thing with the Devil card, I'm just gonna be blunt, it's basically speaking to symbolically addiction. So I'm not gonna call you, like, I'm not gonna say you're necessarily addicted to drugs, sex, food, sugar, something like that, although for some of you that definitely is the case. That definitely is the case, you feeling like as a result of this pandemic and having to be alone and having to deal with the uncertainties or not deal with all of the uncertainties that are going on, like you are feeling even more and more and more out of control, even more sucked into this addiction and more uncertain of how to take control back yourself. But, you know, let's look at addiction symbolically too, because, you know, you could be a person that's very like anti-drug or whatever, like I'm not an addict, but it's so easy to get addicted to things or people these days. You know, it's honestly, I don't think it's very I don't think it makes you a very special or unique person to get addicted. I don't think it makes you an outcast, like by any means, or some, you know, kind of savage of a individual that you have to get addicted to something, because the way that our society is built, well, first of all, like capitalism, right, is like basically meant to make us addicted to material things so that we can buy more things. But now it's just with the amount of people and these new ways, neo-capitalism, these new ways of, getting us sucked in, and advertisers playing with our psychology in a completely new way. Those methods have not yet been realized. And so there are so many new avenues and new ways for us to get weirdly addicted to things. And you might not even want to look at this as an addiction. That's why I want to just stress this is if I say addiction, it's just symbolic addiction. And it just means basically being so tied to something that you feel that brings you comfort. And if you let go of that thing, you are going to be so anxious that you feel like you cannot live without that thing. Or person, very much so, because the devil can very much indicate a toxic relationship. And that may very well have been what you've gone through, I think, for some of you. And I think, this was something that has been a theme for me during the past year or so, but realizing all of these things that I've had to let go of. And for me, first, some of them are addictions and some of them are a lot larger. One was letting go of a toxic relationship, then letting go of nicotine, then letting go of alcohol, then letting go of a toxic job that I was at, and so some of those are more classic addictions. But for me, it's been not so much looking oh, am I addicted? Do I have a problem? Whatever. But what do I need to let go? What do I need to shed away that is not working in my life, that is only causing me stress and anxiety, and that I am desperately afraid to let go of because I can't imagine a life on my own. But then realizing that I only have myself to live with in the end, and things and situations are going to change around me as a constant all the time throughout my whole entire life. And when something's not working anymore, it needs to go, because now it is time for something new in my life. Some things are they're meant for a certain purpose. They're meant for a certain time in our life for a certain purpose. And, a lot of those things, if we look at symbolically, are meant for the purpose of us to gain the courage to fight against this devil, to realize the seductions around us, and to realize we don't need to have external comfort to be whole. That comfort is just merely an illusion that's telling us that we cannot be okay by ourselves. But that's when we get that insight, when we get that realization that finally, no, this thing actually is bringing me down, we realize we are so much stronger alone. We are so much stronger without that thing. And actually shedding that thing is going to help us move forward, and it's going to help us be a lesson for the rest of our lives, to remember back to that thing that we could not let go of because we felt so tied. We almost brainwashed ourselves. And it's not only our fault, a lot of it is society, the ways we've grown up, the ways we were conditioned, the people around us that are influencing us. But we've been brainwashed into believing that we are not okay by ourselves. We are not okay without that thing. And let me tell you, if there's anything like that in your life, if there's anything at all in your life, that's absolutely wrong, 100%, okay? Because we as humans are made to adapt. We're made to withstand anything. And we are absolutely not made. It's been through centuries, and I'm just saying this, I just have been watching a lot of Wim Hof videos lately, but the amazing things that humans can put their bodies through, they're not talked about or cherished in our society, because as humans, we spent so much time trying to get to this certain level of comfort. And now we are at this certain level of comfort, for the most part, collectively, that if there's any little thing to get us out of that comfort zone, we feel it's wrong. And I'm not saying, this is a very controversial issue, right? Because it's like, well, we did work hard. Humans as a species have worked hard to build up to a place where we can be comfortable every day. Yes. But here's where it goes wrong. I don't think necessarily comfort is bad and the achievements we've made are bad. But when it starts messing with you, when it starts actually bringing you down to a place where you can't do anything but be sedentary, and that feeling of sedentary is only good if you only want to just sit on a couch all day and be like completely complacent, then that's fine. But if you don't want to do that, if you want to go out and you want to make your way, carve your pathway in this world, then there's got to be a point where you do come out of your comfort zone. You do, and you do train yourself so that you are more adaptable to that when the situations arise, when there's the divine or some kind of instinct knocking on your door telling you this is not right anymore, this is toxic, and this is trapping you. This is just trapping you and making you weaker and weaker and weaker. And is at that moment that you must learn to be adaptable, and you must learn that I don't need to be in this comfort zone all the time, because if I am, then what is the main philosophy? If I want to be in this comfort zone all the time, then I become complacent. And that's okay if you want to become complacent. But if I don't want to become complacent, I've got to change. I've got to grow, and I've got to shed these things no matter how painful it seems. Okay, for you, pile 3, I feel like there might be some kind of issue. Like this is definitely seeming like a long-term thing to me in some aspects that goes back way deeper than the pandemic, but has intensified like 100% during the pandemic. I think as a result of, us having to put more attention on ourselves and us having so much uncertainty around us as well. But this star, like you definitely lost hope. And I get the sense that it's because for a while in you, there was building up this devil kind of vibe, which is like getting sucked into things more and more and more, getting sucked into things that are your comfort zone. And then now with the star in reverse, you can't see forward. You somehow before were just able to get by, and then now you're not able to get by. You don't know exactly what happened there, what switched that, but you feel like you certainly cannot fix it because you don't know what to do. And I think as a result of that, you're really just feeling nostalgic. You're feeling like, why? I want to just go back to the simpler times. I love this. I love this illustration so much of the 6 of Cups with the son with the dog and then the dad. And then he's older and it's like the same dog. And it's like, he looks like decades older. So I feel like by that time in reality, the dog would probably still not be alive, but it doesn't really matter because, part of this is saying like it's in his head, maybe this is the guy and he's dreaming back to this time or vice versa, but he's in the past. He's kind of living in the past a little bit. And it can be a beautiful card. And I think you're looking back there to try to bring yourself comfort, I feel, because that's the only place you can find that comfort. You're feeling like you do want to move forward somehow, but you're a little bit stuck because you're not sure exactly where to go. You're not sure exactly what to do. You have some different ideas about what to do, but you can't envision it. And so I feel my advice for you, I think you need to stay grounded a little bit, but I would certainly try to do some visualization work and look at like what is the life that you want to live. Okay, because then if we start to have a goal, then things don't seem so chaotic and out of place here. Okay, I don't want you to like just jump into something right away. That's not the pathway for you right now, pile 3, but I definitely want you to think ahead, bring some of this nostalgia and some of this looking to the past and looking to what you miss, and bring that. I'm not saying those same things and those same situations, but bring that same feeling forward. Bring that same feeling forward to the future. And realizing too that you can always get back to this feeling, this comfort feeling, but within yourself. That's not going to come from other people or other things outside of you. Okay? And you might know this and say like, hey, just this is like cliche effing advice here. But if that advice is not hitting for you, then you need to go deeper into really some kind of yoga, meditation work, studying spirituality, psychotherapy, somatic therapy, something I would very much recommend, some kind of solitude, art practice, etc. Because that's gonna help retrain your brain and reprogram yourself to start to believe that comfort's going to come from within. Okay, so if you don't believe me and the words don't do enough, then it's time when you're ready to practice that. Okay, because at some point you're going to need to fight out of your comfort zone, and I think that's very much what you're not wanting to do right now, pile 3. But after this, like, you're going to be effing fearless. Like, you're going to be so strong and so centered. It's like, it's crazy. And this is absolutely coming. Like, this is amazing that this kind of challenge is coming to you right now, because you do have the time. You do have the time. If you allow yourself, you do have the time to work on this with yourself, to work on these things that you need to shed from your life. You need to remember that you have full control of this. And if some method that you're doing is not working, like if you're doing some kind of yoga or running or eating, whatever, and that's not working, then there's other methods out there, okay? Because 100%, it doesn't matter, and it's not about that method, and nothing is going to fix you. The reason why those methods are probably not working is because you're relying too heavily on them to fix you. That is the Western medical philosophy, that medicine will fix you, you don't need to do anything. And yes, that is true in some cases, but when it comes to this stuff that you're dealing with, the main vehicle, the main medication is your mindset, and your willpower. You need to believe, first and foremost, that you can change. You need to believe it. And I know it's hard. Because we look at ourselves and we're like, but I am different than everybody else, but that's not going to work for me. That's like some weird case of a miracle. Like, no. Like, let me tell you, pile 3, I feel inclined that I was in a similar situation, and before all of this started happening to me, before I had to shed everything, I had no belief in myself. I had a severe case of chronic pelvic pain where I was given no hope. The doctors told me I was just going to feel like this way for the rest of my life. And we tried almost every single medication out there for this issue. Absolutely nothing worked. And some of them actually made it worse, because I found out later that I really did not want to take some of the medications, and those were the ones that actually made it worse, crazy enough. So I experienced like the nocebo effect, but I never experienced, unfortunately, the placebo effect. And I never got better until I learned about the work of John Sarno in tension myositis syndrome, which addresses the mind-body connection of chronic pain. And I don't know how, because I was so resilient against belief that I was going to get better. I mean, I thought I was going to get better, but I just expected to take some medication and to have it lay back and work for me. But all the while, I was in so much pain and agony every day that I could never really feel like I had that belief myself, and just in so much pain emotionally, wondering what is so wrong with me? How did this happen? And why can I not get better. I listened to some of the interviews by some of the medics that worked with John Sarno, and I started to believe, oh yes, I can see what they're talking about, how I did form how these pain pathways were formed in my brain, and how this is a conditioned process for me, because every day I'm waking up and feeling the exact same. I'm feeling the exact same. And I have had a few moments of relief in this, but all those moments don't make sense, because nothing adds up in why I have some moments of relief and like why I'm in more pain at sometimes. Nothing adds up rationally here. But I started to see intuitively what they were talking about. And I literally just one night told myself, I'm going to take my pain and I'm going to turn it into pleasure. And so I took my pain, all my pain feelings, and I let myself feel that pain. I let it be so painful as the pain wanted to be. And I said, I'm going to find pleasure in this right now. I don't care what happens tomorrow. I don't care what happens in a minute. I don't care if this, makes me in more pain, whatever. I'm going to decide to find pleasure in this right now because I deserve it. Because it's been so long that I've been in excruciating pain. And the next day I broke the pain cycle for half the day. And then the next night I did the same thing. Allow my pain, and then turn it into pleasure. Simple as that. And then the day after that, I experienced another half day without pain. I did it again. And by 2 weeks, I was completely pain-free. By 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks, this must have been a week and a half, I was completely healed. I tried every treatment you could think of. And it was only this belief that healed me. Simply the belief. The medications made it worse because I didn't believe I would get better. I believed the medications could make me better, but that I couldn't do anything on my own. But once I simply just started talking to my body and believing that I could get better, I did in an instant. A week and a half. And I'm a person too that's been through a lot of stuff, eating disorder, depression, panic attacks, OCD, etc. But I believe strongly the same method and mindset does apply to all of those conditions, not just a physical chronic pain condition. And so, yeah, I just, sorry for that whole tangent, but I just wanted to kind of jot in my personal experiences with this devil and whole spread kind of mentality for you, Pile 3, because I know how hard it is. I really, really do. I really do. And I don't even think I can give you all of the words to get better, but I want to sit with you for as long as possible and jut in this belief to you. Like, I just want to vicariously send you some belief in yourself, just because you need to know that you are always there and you can do whatever you want and you will change no matter what, no matter how long it takes or how challenging it might be, you will change. Okay? So you need to know that very much, Pile 3. Now let's just move on with it a little bit. I want to pull some cards for the previous situation leading up to this current trauma experience, and then the kind of next chapter on our journey after this. All right, so, okay, so we've got, this is interesting. We've got the Knight of Pentacles and then also the Five of Pentacles that's coming before. So I'm feeling like there was a lot of hardships with some kind of like work project or material goods. Like, I feel, and not necessarily hardships, sorry, but it's just more like you were pushing forward and you were working really effing hard, but things were not adding up for you. Things were not coming together for you, and just kept like, you felt like the amount of work you were putting in, you were not reaping the benefits here. Okay. And I think that's really what led you to this devil state, because somehow in here you were working so hard for this thing, so hard that you almost had tunnel vision. And, you know, you're getting signs and hints there that I shouldn't stay here. Like, I need a new course of action because this is not working out. But what's on the other side is really scary because you don't have a plan. And that's a problem. Like, so you're afraid if you let go of this comfort zone, if you let go of these things, you don't know what the hell is going to happen. It's going to be more uncertainty brought to you. Oh my God. And that is so scary. So that's kind of what's leading you into this. And now we've got, for the next outcome, the Four of Swords, Nine of Wands in reverse. I'm just gonna move some of these. Okay, and then the Four of Pentacles. Cool. And so basically, I think it's interesting the presence of fours here. We've got the Four of Swords and the Four of Pentacles. And the number 4 is all about stability. So I think in general for you coming forward, the next pathway for you is all about stability. And I think this honestly might be an issue about health in some way. Very much might be mental or physical health, because I think with this Four of Pentacles, it's telling you to hold on to what you have. And it's telling me like you need to kind of appreciate what you have, but not that you don't, not that you are an ungrateful person. I'm not saying that, but there's this new sense of appreciation for what you have. Because I think what's happening with the devil, like, because you're so sucked into one thing and one person or one situation or certain things, just I think maybe a certain pattern of life, you're kind of disregarding all of this good that you have around you and all of these other healthier things, because they're not as like fun or exciting, or they're slower, or they're not as impactful somehow. And you need to take this time to relax and meditate here with this Four of Swords. But it's gonna be, I think this is a very good sign. You're gonna become like a lot more grounded next, I'm finding. Like the thing I was saying about like finding that inner strength inside to fight this, like it's gonna be very much about inner stability here. And we're not gonna need to, like with this Nine of Wands going forward, this is maybe gonna be a bit of a challenge for us. But that's okay. Like what I was saying before about like the Wim Hof interview and adaptability, like the more that you do this, the more that you meditate, the more that you relax, the more that you get into this habit. Okay, just think about all these habits that you have currently and how you got into them. Like they didn't happen overnight. You had to kind of learn your way into these habits. Yeah, it just might be a little bit of a challenge to reel yourself in. But that's absolutely okay. And I'm just looking at, because you're going to be like, just like more slow and steady. That's absolutely what you need right now, because you're prepping for something bigger than this. And I have a feeling that the universe is like making a space for you to relax right now, because they want you to have these big times ahead. They want you to finish this mission that you're on and get through your struggles, get through this confusion, but they need you to complete it in the right state of mind here. Okay, they need you to be more stable, to be more grounded in order to do what you want to do, in order to achieve what you want to achieve here. For some of you, this is going to be a radical change, but for others at the baseline, it's going to be about like your purpose right now is to not live in a state of anxiety all the time. It's to not have that, like that's been going on for you way too long. And you know it's time to get rid of that, you know. And so that is your priority right now. Nothing else matters. I'm telling you, nothing else matters. And the universe is making that space for you to rest right now so that you know that you are the one that can get yourself forward through any challenge for the rest of your life. Okay? And this ended up being a really long reading, but let's pull some cards from our Mystic Monday deck. Talking about the lesson of this trauma for you, pile 3. Okay, so what is the divine lesson that this trauma is having for you, pile 3? There were more cards that came out in the other piles for this, but like once those first 2 came in, I was like, I know what this is about. And then the Emperor too. Yeah, this is basically just a reiteration of what I've been saying. But with this 2 of Pentacles in reverse, like you're having problems like juggling things. And you feel like everything now is building up, and like every little thing that you have added to your plate is like, holy fucking shit, I cannot handle this right now. Oh my God, go away. And like, for you, it's not just like a little bit of stress, a little bit of anxiety here and there. That is building up hardcore. And you're like, to this point in like this stage where, yeah, it's not just stress anymore. It's like existential crisis mode for you. It's like every little thing that gets added to your plate, you're like, I not only cannot handle this, I think I'm gonna like go cry right now because this is fucked up way too much for me. I can't do it. Oh my God, I can't do it. But this Emperor talking about control, discipline, power, your own power, okay? And also representing the number 4, okay? So your lesson right now, pile 3, is to find this power. Find this power within this guy, okay? The Emperor is like, he's a leader, or she, they are a leader. It represents like the standard father figure and what that entails. But to me, like when I've had this card come out, it's just this feeling of really being kind of like you don't take anybody's shit, you're not inferior. Like, you know how in some situations we feel inferior, we feel out of control, we feel like we don't know the answers, etc. The Emperor figure is just this like cool, calm, and collected guy that's like somehow knows all the answers. Like he's not worried, and he can take on anything. It's just like a lot more rational, you know? And I would say he's not necessarily cold, but you don't get as attached emotionally to things. You're just like kind of this leader, what you say goes. And I'm not saying to be arrogant or narcissistic, but to channel that energy, like how it's beneficial and helpful to you, and how that if you decide to step into that power position, that leadership position, that controlled, cool, calm, and collective father, emperor figure position, you simply can be there. So maybe like when you're struggling and when you're feeling out of control and completely helpless, realizing again, oh, I can be this emperor. I know my shit. I'm not worried. And that's very much kind of the lesson with this Five of Cups. This is the grief card, and I feel this is almost directly translating as in like the more that you're being handed right now, this Two of Pentacles, like the more you're grieving about it because you like literally cannot handle this. But the other thing with the Five of Cups, on the traditional Rider-Waite deck, you can see it more, but we've got this guy standing and he's looking at these 3 cups that are spilled over and he's like crying about it. But behind him, there are these 2 cups that are standing up, perfectly filled, perfectly fine. And he's just focused on the 3 that are knocked over and spilled, and he's really sad about it. So to me, that's saying like if we zoom out as the viewer and we look at that whole picture, if we see, as the saying goes, the whole picture, things are not that bad. We've still got some stuff to our name. We've still got stuff to work with. We are just fine. We can be just fine. So it's perfectly fine to grieve too, but to know that, every day we can wake up and choose to live in positivity, choose to live in our power. And I'm not saying this happens overnight, but to know that that's a possibility, I think is a big lesson for you, pile 3. All right, and let's just finish off with some cards from our Soul's Journey deck here. We're gonna just ask for some final guiding advice for you, pile 3. Some advice from our guides above and just some guidance for us during this challenging period in our lives right now. Oh boy. Okay, so we've got courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. And then envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. Okay, I feel like I'm gonna ask, is there any more advice that we need for you, pile 3? Yeah, I feel both of these came out. Okay, we've got forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. And blame. I accept responsibility for my well-being. Yeah. I see these for you, pile 3, because I feel this thing that you're going through, it may not be for all of you. I think many of you are going to be on different points in this journey right now, but I think for a lot of you, this is not over. And for a lot of you, you might be like in the middle of it right now, like just at the lowest point. And that's almost good, because I can tell you, like, then you're just going to get better after that. So it's just going to be uphill. But a lot of like yellow orange, but I'm looking at this like more yellow chakra, Manipura chakra, which and then like forgiveness, which is just the second chakra, the solar, not the solar plexus, the sacral chakra of creativity and sexuality and control. It's talking about control here. I feel very big for you, those 2 chakras, because the third is about that courage too, although that can, stem although that can come from like many different parts of your body, but it's talking about coming into your self-power, which we talked about here with this Emperor. And I feel you have this envy card and forgiveness card are coming out, and then the second chakra talking about this need for like control, and when the chakra is blocked, feeling like completely loss of control here, just unsure what to do and feeling like situations are just coming against you. And I just feel very strongly like this envy card coming in here, there is a little bit for you of this feeling that you are less than others right now. And I'm here to tell you that is absolutely not true. You're just having a day. You're just having a time, pile 3. Like, this is just part of your divine pathway. And if you can look at it symbolically, then you can realize like, this is just a part of your journey that's only going to make you stronger right now. Like, you very much need to keep telling yourself that, because 100% that's true. Like, if you're into spirituality, like, you probably know what I mean. And if you're not, like, just look back in your life and understand the common wisdom that like life is a cycle, and we go through all these different cycles of change, up and down, peaks and valleys, that like inevitably what happens after some kind of bad period is some kind of light, some kind of good period. Okay, this is all for a purpose, and that purpose is for you to develop that inner strength and for you to be able to rely on yourself and depend on yourself for anything. Okay, I accept responsibility for my well-being. Nobody or nothing is going to give you that magic pill, that magic relief, that magic comfort. That comfort is going to come from within. And realizing that is the most empowering thing. And you're going to be able to do whatever you want when you realize that you have the power to change whatever you want, to get whatever you want, and to feel however you want. That's going to take a lot of courage. Okay, that's going to take a lot of battling yourself, battling your beliefs of how you don't feel like you can do it. You feel special and unique somehow, that just bad things happen to you and you can't get out of them, you know, and other people can believe their way out of it, but you can't. No, you're not different. You can do it too. Like, when I went through my whole opening with the pelvic pain, like, I'm not a special person. I'm not a magician or witch or anything like that. I honestly had no faith in anything like manifestation or chakra healing at that time. Like, honestly, I didn't know shit about it. I didn't believe in it. I really only believed like some pill was going to make me better. And that still happened to me. Okay. I was still able to heal myself through thought. You don't need to be some kind of really spiritual person or something for this to work. Absolutely not. I think that's a very big misconception. And if you are going through some kind of journey with your health or like with an eating disorder, anxiety type of thing, I really recommend for you, pile 3, Unlearn Your Pain or Unlearn Your Anxiety and Depression by Dr. Howard Schubner. He follows the work of Dr. Sarno, which some of you may know, probably most of you don't, unfortunately, but I don't really want to give a whole spiel about that. But even though the book title is kind of cheesy and like the cover looks kind of cheesy, please don't let that fool you. Like, trust me, I understand. I'm like the biggest effing skeptic on the planet, and I definitely was before all this. I'll leave that link in the description just in case I feel like some of you might resonate with it. Definitely not all of you, but that book changed my life. So if I can help at least one of you, that would be amazing. So I think for you, pile 3, like, this is about looking very much like a need to look inwards, because you realize nothing else is going to help you outside of yourself right now. Okay, so don't be looking for answers outside of yourself if you don't have that control within. And I'm not saying like don't go to the doctor if you have something wrong with you. It's not about that, but like when you'll know when things are just not working for some reason and you just can't figure something out for some reason, and you feel like things work for other people but they're not working for you. Why is this? That's when you need to go within, and that's when you need to realize this is a question of my spirituality right now. This is a question of my belief and my faith in myself and my own personal power, my own courage to face my fears. Okay? Examine those things. Examine those fears that you have, and don't be critical, but start to look at them, observe and question, where are these coming from? Are there things in my life that I could do without in order to help myself manifest this power? Because when you go past this period in your life, you're not going to be as much like in this struggle, in this kind of seeking period where you're trying to dig up that power within yourself. Like, eventually you're going to have to rely on the result of this period, of what happened, of that power, and you knowing how to find that, okay? Because eventually you're going to have to use that. But right now, it's about stepping back and finding that so you can use it in the future, so you can know how to live in the future without so much fear and anxiety, and without so much attachment to things that just honestly really aren't serving you anymore. I'm sensing an extremely powerful, capable, smart, and talented person inside of you, Pile 3, and you have yet to fully reach this potential because you won't let yourself be happy. You won't let yourself off the hook. But what's going to come for you after this is being yourself, being that strength, that emperor, that leader, that powerful ass person, but also being like, yeah, I know. And cool, I got this. No problem. I'm going to live my life now. I'm going to live my life and do everything that I want because I'm not going to be held back by those things that I feel I can't control. Alrighty, that's what I have for you today, Pile 3. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Alrighty, hello, Pile 4. So excited to have you here with me today for this reading. I'm just going to start out revealing the card that you chose at the beginning of the video in the Pick a Pile reading. On the other side, we've got the Sun card. Such an amazing, illuminating card. And some of the keywords of this card. Let's see if we can focus in on this a little. Some of the keywords here are awards, camaraderie, and affection. But in general, the Sun card is really about, it's almost about the end of the journey and where we find finally success and joy and this really uplifting sense of reaping the rewards of our hard effort and our ups and downs and challenges and learning experiences that we've had to go through on a journey. So the Sun is about like finally that celebration towards the end of this cycle, towards the end of this journey, and all that we've learned and all that we have grown from this experience. So it's also like about just tapping into that childlike happy feeling where we can rest and everything is fun and exciting once again, and we can enjoy ourselves. And the Sun, it's just very, very, very positive card that you picked, Pile 4. And I feel for you, you are a person I feel that's living on a little bit higher level of consciousness. Maybe not for all of you, but for some of you, you are this honestly like positive person. Like at large, like you definitely, we have this Two of Wands coming in, which is the card of the visionary. And I definitely see you, maybe not as a full-time visionary, but at the least a part-time visionary. Definitely a person that, you know, really is optimistic, like wants good things to happen, overall and can put their energy towards that positivity, towards that vision of a bright future, and spend their time thinking about that and how to make those goals come to life rather than, such negative thoughts of things that you can't do. And your trauma, Pile 4, is about releasing some of these fears that you have that are very much holding you back, that I think at this point, many of you know at this point in your journey, many of you know that these fears are basically unnecessary for you. You realize you've been holding them for a while, and it's time to let them go, because the only thing standing in your way are your fears. But it's not as easy as just pressing a button and then fears are gone. I mean, sort of, yes, but it's a challenge, because I'm sensing for you, like, this 9 of Wands coming in is talking about, in relation to this whole spread, it's talking about being in this constant, like, survival mode state, I feel like, and this constant fight or flight state, or fight or flight or freeze or flee, or what was the fourth one? Or flow. One of those trauma responses that you've been in for a while, likely since childhood, if not for at least a little while, few years probably. So you're living out right now. Your fear is because of a trained, conditioned trauma response that is there, or was there, in order to protect you from a traumatic situation going on. And that's what happens. This is, like, scientifically, if you read about trauma and what happens in our brains and in our bodies, is that the central nervous system, it gets trained to be in a state of fight, flight, freeze, or flow responses to triggering situations that somehow remind us of our trauma, but that in reality, they are not a threat, they are not threatening, but because we had this trauma experience, we are still trained to react in that way. And a lot of the times we'll find ourselves saying, like, I don't know why, but for some reason I get so angry at this little small thing, or for some reason these noises bother me so much. The taste of this bothers me so much. It makes me so angry. It makes me so anxious. I'm having panic attacks for no reason. I'm getting nauseous for no reason. Like, and I feel for you, Pile 4, like, you're finding yourself more and more, like, going through these, having some of these situations, like the trauma really, really coming up now, because for you, it's been going on for a little while, but you've been trying to kind of make things work little by little, and I think you've been doing all that you can to proceed and to go forward and living life optimistically, but you have your Achilles heels, which are like, oh no, but I don't want to do that. oh no, I can't, like, I can do all this stuff, but I can't, like, confront this person, because no, like, that's just not gonna happen. Like, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. I don't do that. I'm afraid of that. And then you're like, oh my God, now I'm getting more and more and more afraid of this. And I'm not saying it's, like, about confronting a person. That was just an example, but there's going to be little things that you are finding that you're just afraid to do this thing. And more, you're just going to keep on finding that I can't. If this pathway involves me having to do something that I'm not comfortable with, I don't want to do that thing. There's something else I can do, because I don't want to be uncomfortable now. But that is the big learning lesson for you here, Pile 4, because actually you're being presented these situations, and you're being presented you were very much meant to live in this time. I feel like more than anybody else in any other pile. Well, we were all meant for this, right? But you very much have to know that you were meant to live in this time of 2020, of this extreme societal trauma, because that is intensifying and bringing to light your traumas and your trauma responses that you've been living with for so long here. Okay, that's bringing this to light, and that's for a reason. That's so it becomes obvious to you. It becomes obvious. It's not that you're getting worse, pile 4. It's not like you're getting worse somehow, although it may feel like that. It's just the universe wants to send you this sign, wants to make it obvious for you, because somehow it was not obvious before. It was not obvious enough because you were able to escape. You were able to just go on and do the next thing. And I think you realize that now, and that's something you maybe just want to work on. I think you're a very mindful person, pile 4. I feel like I'm talking to somebody that's pretty mindful here. At least most of you. I think you can admit to yourself some of these flaws, some of these fears, and some of these weird things that are going on, and say there has been weird stuff, and I do want to change, because I don't want to keep running away from my fears or whatever. I don't want to keep running away from commitments. I'm not saying you're not a committed person. I think that some of you might resonate with that statement more than others. But I think for some of you that don't resonate with that statement, some of you could be very loyal, committed, strong, willful person. But there just might be some aspects more in a behavioral pattern type of way, in what situations just you don't want to deal with. Avoidance. That's what I wrote down a few notes when I saw your reading at first, because there are a lot of messages coming, and avoidance was one of them. I think you could be a very strong, willful, committed person in theory, but let's face it, there are some things that you want to avoid, and that's going to take some digging. That's going to take some digging inside. And I'm sensing we have this 3 of Swords in reverse card, which is, to be honest with you, I'm a very weird one, but the 3 of Swords is one of my favorite cards, mostly when it's in reverse, because the 3 of Swords it's the heartbreak card, but it basically means they say it's the heartbreak card because it's about, in the swords, in the whole story of the swords, what's happening in this journey. This is only a 3rd card here, but the swords represent the mind. And then we've got a heart here. So in the 3 of Swords, because the 3 is kind of about connection, being social with other people. So we have the mind meeting the heart for the first time. And when the mind meets the heart, doesn't know what to do. They don't know what to do. They're this is completely opposite territory coming in here. The mind and the heart are not supposed to go together, because the mind thinks logically, the heart thinks intuitively, whatever is going to bring it love and that unconditional love feeling, and the mind is no, I need to survive. What is the rational way to do that? So when those two forces meet, it's challenging, and that's because it's happening for the first time. And so it's talking about heartbreak because it's coming at you for the first time. So these two opposite forces, it's just 2 very different people meeting each other for the first time that have completely different philosophies about what to do in every situation. And they meet each other, and for the first time, they're no, I believe my way and I believe my way. So this is not going to work. Oh my God. And then it's oh no, I'm heartbroken. But when this card is in reverse, it gives you the wisdom of understanding that. So these 2 things that are opposite and have different philosophies are not meeting for the first time. They're meeting, but you can recognize what that feels like. You can know that, and you can foresee that experience in your life. And it's about learning to open your expectations Open up your expectations and allow good, bad, all different kinds of situations to come in, and know that it's okay, you got this no matter what. And so for you, this is going to be a time of releasing that heartbreak, releasing that feeling when negative things come or when people oppose you, that you have to suffer from that you have to lose, that things are in calamity, but knowing that that oil and water mixture experience is just a part of life, and we can grow from that. And I think for you, you're a person, that a lot of your fears are from this heartbreak because you've had to go through so much heartbreak in your life. And this could be like emotional, this could be like regarding relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, but also like potentially not only that, like potentially, involving a career situations, involving financial situations, really anything. It's talking about that feeling of heartbreak, not necessarily what traditionally we think of as heartbreak. But I feel, you're definitely a person that's gone through that many times in your life, and that's sort of a staple in your life pathway, having to deal with this heartbreak. And a lot of that I'm sensing for many of you is like from this fear of rejection, like fear of, just when you were younger, others like not accepting you or others not understanding you. And because of that, you've been searching your whole life for this understanding, for intimacy with others, for a way to forge your pathway forward and to make your mark in this world and help people and mend it all. But I think the universe wants to give you that, but it's coming through in a very challenging way. You have to remember that you have to mend these wounds inside in order to find that beauty, in order to release. And I think a lot of your fears that you have surround others and their perception of you, and feeling not understood, feeling like they didn't accept you, did not understand you, did not want to validate you and your beliefs and your truths. So a lot of this is going to be about reconciling like who you are, what your truths are, and building up the awareness that a lot of these fears that you have are a result of your trauma. They're not real and they don't need to stay, but they are sensitivities like that you should look into and try to observe and uncover, so that for the future you don't have to feel like you need to give up something because you're afraid. You can assess a situation like rationally that isn't influenced just by fears. You can ask yourself, am I walking away now because it's the right thing to do? Because it's, this thing really is over and I'm done with this pathway in my life? Or am I walking away because I am too afraid of what others think and of others hurting me right now? Okay, and I want to just, again, ask for a little bit more context about this situation. Like, what was going on that led us to this trauma? Like, what kind of situation were we in that led us to open up to this trauma experience? Okay, we've got, the Hangman in reverse. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay. And the Ace of Swords. Yeah, so I see like a contrast here, like I was saying, between like moving forward and being held back. Having these new ideas in your mind, but your soul being stuck, not ready to move forward, not necessarily understanding why, and being like, I am so ready for this, but there are parts inside of you that I think beyond your own conscious awareness are not being let go of. Beyond your conscious awareness, you want to stay in this comfort zone because you can't imagine adapting to those difficulties of what's ahead. But I'm feeling like you having maybe some kind of epiphany that led you to realize these fears more and more, that these fears are actually coming into your conscious mind, and this being like a new spark, a new idea for you, like, oh my God, I am now realizing this. Holy shit. Like, you know, we all have like such deep fears, and I think for you right now, for you, this is the time to uncover them. This is the time to bring them to light and have epiphanies about these fears and these patterns that, like, oh my God, I have been in survival mode this whole time. I have been, my fight or flight trauma, central nervous system responses have been like going crazy this whole time. Holy shit, this is like, I'm like possessed or something. All right, and we're just gonna look at what pathways coming after this trauma experience as like a next chapter in our lives. We've got the 5 of Cups here for you. Let's see what else. 3 of Pentacles. Let's see if there's any more. I feel like we need. Okay. High Priestess in reverse. Okay, cool. So I feel like we need to look at these like this. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is like really a time of working with others, a time where I feel you might be making a radical change in your life here, actually as a result of this, because this 9 of Wands in reverse next to the 3 of Swords in reverse and like some of the, like the Star and 2 of Wands, I mean, this is like really digging deep into your trauma and like really, really understanding what are those things that make you tick. And when I mean tick, I mean like set you off your path. And I feel that here I'm seeing like a quieter time for you, but where you are more focused and can open up to people about what you've experienced, about the fears that have gone on and about your trauma. I feel you're going to become much more involved with the workings like of your brain and of this trauma and of the central nervous system and what happens not just to you, but like at large to others, what trauma does to us, to our bodies, to our brain, and how to pick ourselves up from that and how to recover from that. I feel you're going to be working with people that are involved with this as well, that are going to be like mentoring you and that are going to be enlightening you more and more about what is going on with yourself. And you're going to be able to eventually build up to much more clarity. Like right now is like what led you to this place right now. That was just the beginning. That was just like a small spark of an epiphany of what's going on. But you are about to understand this much, much deeper. Go much, much deeper. And this is going to be almost like something that you're working on, something that you're working towards, a very long journey, potentially just something, you know, that becomes a part of really who you are, if that makes sense to you. This is going to be a beautiful thing for you, pal, for like channeling your grief into wisdom, finding the courage to fight your fears and transforming that into productivity, into finding like the breakthrough that's going to help you realize your dreams. And I feel some of your dreams will shift and change over time. But in general, your optimism and your baseline personality traits and skills and talents will remain the same. You won't lose any of that. But what you direct your efforts towards is going to be concerning yourself and your spirit and what you've had to go through in this life, and you're going to be working on that as if it were a project, building this up and up and up. So I find this very beautiful for you, Pal 4. I'm just going to pull some cards from our Mystic Mondays deck. I want to ask Spirit about the lesson that you are learning. What is like the overall lesson of this COVID pandemic PTSD trauma experience that you're going through? Pile 4. Okay, we've got, basically what I was saying, this 9 of Swords card. Wow, this is deep for you, like getting in touch with that intuition. Oh my god, way too many cards. Okay, we'll just pull these out. Wow. Oh yes. 7 of Wands. Fuck yeah. I love the 7 of Wands. Just like personal boundaries, fighting for yourself, sticking up for yourself. Let's see if there's any more cards here. Pile 4 for you. What is your lesson? Okay, whatever. This one really wanted to come out. 9 of Swords. And then we've got the 9 of Pentacles. And the Knight of Swords. I feel like it's almost like a second thing to keep in mind. All right, and this 6 of Swords coming in reverse, I feel like another pile might have gotten this for their lesson as well, because I remember explaining, but in the Mystic Mondays deck, I do like how straightforward this particular card is, because to me it's like, usually when this card is upright, it kind of talks about like a period after you might have felt defeat, or you might have felt exhausted, and you having to just let go, walk away. You know, it's talking about traveling outwards, just moving on with your life. But when this is in reverse, we see the swords, they're pointing back towards us. They're pointing back down. And they're saying, yes, maybe we did experience defeat and loss, and we don't know the answers, etc., but we don't need to move on. We don't need to travel away to recuperate at this time. Traveling outwards, moving on, discarding the past and letting go is not necessarily the answer. And I'm not saying like letting go isn't the answer, whatever, but it's this particular energy of letting go that I feel like you, Pile 4, might be attached to. Like when I talked before about avoidance, I think that many of you in this pile might be like sort of a pioneer archetype energy, where you just want to go and seize the day, and just something isn't working, goodbye, we don't need it, I'm gonna move on. And that's good and great, like sometimes to think like that, but I think what's happening right now, Pile 4, is that you're not fully addressing your fears in situation. The Spirit is calling you to examine these situations in a little bit more detail, you know, to look between the cracks at things that may not be so obvious, to look at the minute details of a situation, to look at the wide array of your emotional patterns in a situation, not just what is on the surface here, but digging deeper and deeper, taking some ownership. I'm not saying the situation's your fault or not, you know, it's not about the blame, but taking some ownership in the power that you have to change situations for yourself, right? I'm feeling like in this time, with this 7 of Wands too, a big piece of advice is to find boundaries. So, you know, a reason why you are avoiding situations and you don't want to, is because you're feeling like maybe these situations are like requiring way too much of you, and you're having to focus too much energy on pleasing others rather than doing really what you want here. And this is the time to stand your ground and say, actually, no, like this is what I want and what I need. You know, whether it's to take time off or just simply like say no, or to, you know, stick up for what you know is right for you, despite what others think, because I'm sensing that's a big part of your struggle in being able to succeed here, is this issue of feeling like you have to give to everybody all the time. And that's just kind of building up more and more to a place where you feel defeated, like you can't give anything else. And this Nine of Pentacles, I love this illustration too. I'll just bring it up a little closer to you. But this peacock, I mean, this is about abundance, but really, like in your lesson here, this is about living out almost the completion of a cycle of having to like work really hard and reaping the benefits of it. And weirdly, I feel like that's a bit of a struggle for you, because you feel like you're not reaping the benefits. You're not able to live something out fully, live out your dreams fully to this completion stage right now, because there's something that always gets in the way here. It's usually maybe somebody else like already gets in the way. So the spirit wants you to recognize your achievements here, and to give yourself the rewards that you deserve, instead of like running away or avoiding your fears. With this Knight of Swords, I'm sensing like for you is to, when you have, and this with this Ace of Swords, there's like a lot of sword energy going on for you. When you have, it's not going to come all the time, but when you have those spark ideas, those epiphanies, those moments of courage, follow that shit. Okay, because that's the time. That is a sign from above for you, Pile 4, that it's the time to act. Those like bursts of ideas are what are going to help you through this time period. Also, like with the Seven of Wands and Knight of Swords, it's about like having the courage like to tell people, no, this is who I am. Like communicate who you really are in this time. To be brave about that, to be brave about saying like, I am who I am. I've been through some ups and downs, and this is what I stand for. This is what I believe in. And no matter what obstacles get in my way, I still am gonna fight for this, because this is what I want and who I am. And this is what I've been waiting for my whole life, you know? I want goodness, I want positivity and optimism and light in this world. I want good things to happen to me, and I want good things to happen to everyone, and this is how I'm gonna do it. Because I'm sensing for you, Pile 4, getting over this trauma, you're gonna feel like a little bit alone. But there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that, because right now, you also need to experience this work that you're doing and experience the rewards that come of doing this work for yourself, of digging in deeply, because you're the only one that knows the answers for you. And like, that sounds generic, but I didn't tell this to any other pile. Like, this is very much a message for you, Pile 4. Like, I'm sensing a person, like I said, that's already very strong, that is mindful, that is optimistic, that does have some kind of sense of higher consciousness, whether it's a more regular thing or not. And I think because of that right now. So you might be wondering, like, why am I having to suffer like so badly? But that's because it could be some kind of karmic situation too that you just need to give up right now, like from a past life event, that you need to complete. But regardless, the spirit wants you to push through this. They really want you to push through to the end, to releasing this trauma, releasing this hurt and this heartbreak. So I think, you're having to go through a lot, but there's gonna be a lot of growth that comes. And I see a really like a radical change for you. If that has not already started, it's definitely coming. And you may very well be in the middle of that and trying to kind of go through what it all means right now, but that's okay. If that's the case, you're certainly on the right path, and these insights will definitely come to you, like the more you push yourself to observe these patterns. And that's not going to happen overnight either, it's going to happen one by one, just slow and steady. Like, do what you can now. Once you start to uncover one thing, it will lead to another, and lead to another, and another, and another. So that's likely what's going to happen. And like with this Knight of Swords, just telling you to act on those ideas, like when they come up, follow those epiphanies. Like, I feel like you might be a person too with claircognizance. Did I pronounce that right? Claircognizance, which is like a form of psychic powers, for lack of a better word, but where essentially I would describe it like you have the divine communicate to you through epiphanies or sudden thoughts of just like, somehow you just know, and you can't really describe it to people, but you just know. Actually, I would really, like, if you don't know that already about yourself, I would really, again, just try to reflect back and say, am I claircognizant? And I think the thing is too, like, in my opinion, we all have at least one like clairvoyant power. It's like if you've ever done like the styles of learning, like there's visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. At least this is what I learned. There's like visual, auditory, kinesthetic. We all have like at least one of those. And I believe the same thing with psychic ability. Like there's clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. I think there's a few others, but I feel like most of you are probably claircognizant, at least a little bit. It might not be your strongest, but I feel at least most of you are claircognizant with a lot of this coming through right now, because this is such a pivotal moment in your life, and really having to go so deep into what these traumas are. And the spirit knows that you can do it, and knows that you're smart enough, and that's how I'm not trying to compare like, you're the smartest, that you are claircognizant, but I feel that's how you get it, through this weird sense of knowing. And that weird sense of knowing is going to be your strength in this time, to get you out of the confusion and out of the fear and into the dreams that you want to realize. Yeah, that's I feel like really what I wanted to say to you, and all pile for this lesson. Not to blabber forever, but I'm just going to get some final cards for us from our Soul's Journey deck. Pile 4, just asking some final divine guidance for you, Pile 4. some final guiding advice, either from your guides from above, whoever's guides from pile 4, like to know them, like to tell them some stuff. Didn't even get to finish what I was saying. This came out. Number 1, they want you to know this: health. Definitely some kind of health related thing. I will honor the physical vessel that enshrines my soul. I'm gonna read the long description of that for you too, I think, pile 4, because health is so broad, and it's definitely one of my main interests, but it's so broad, and I think for many of you are going through a lot of different health stuff right now. So let's just see if there's any more cards. Actually, I'm just gonna read this first. Oh, and look at that. It just opened up. It's already on the health page, like crazy. All right, so this is the author's blurb on health. Your body is a temple, and you are responsible for its care. You have chosen to incarnate in this physical dimension to learn certain lessons, and if you don't maintain the physical vehicle that your soul has chosen, then you're sabotaging your own plan. Your health is a vital element for your soul's progress, and you should never take it for granted. Be sensible about nourishment and exercise. You could be a sensitive being who must be conscious of your surroundings because you can easily be drained by people, places, or things. Always make a ritual of protection and cleansing before you work with a client, or just bring your mind back to your heart throughout the day to rejuvenate. This card may also signify a desire to assist other beings through physical or emotional healing work. You may be involved professionally in the medical fields, body work, or psychiatry and counseling, or maybe you're just a good listener who possesses sage advice. If you or someone you know inherited a congenital disease, past life work may be of some benefit. Okay, shit, wow. I'm like honestly hearing so many messages for you with this health card. Pile 4, but first I want to bring up like what I was talking about before, how for this future outcome, you are going to be there's going to be a radical life change in which the work that you're doing internally on your own fears right now is going to become a larger like project that you're working with others on. So I very much feel for some of you, this might be like going into health or taking your mental or physical health trauma situation to the max here, like as a career type of situation. But also it brings up the point that I didn't really talk too much about your physical health and how much you're caring for yourself in this, because I do feel like you are a person that, you know, does extend yourself outward, does not ground yourself maybe as much as you should here, and you're looking further for answers, while now is very much a time, again, to stay within and take care of those basic necessities, groundedness, work, and or just, you know, making sure you are taking care of everyday basic necessities, good nutrition, yoga, exercise, meditation. Like the spirit from above is just telling you, remember that you need to take care of yourself and your body 100%, number 1, or else these changes won't happen. You know, we can't cure everything with our minds. You know, we have to live the life that we want for ourselves, as well as think it, as well as envision it. Okay, so making sure we are staying grounded and taking care of our physical bodies, knowing how absolutely important that is right now in our healing journey, and we will not move forward if we don't do that. And let's see if there's any more guidance for you. Ooh, love this illustration. We've got surrender. I I can release my need to control. And let's see if there's anything else here. Self-esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. I love this illustration. And I feel like health gets really trippy if you look deep into it. If you go back and watch Pile 3, or if you did watch Pile 3, I dived a little bit into my own very unique health journey. But in short, it has been proven that unreleased trauma, repressed emotions cause all kinds of mental and physical health conditions, such as, chronic pain, anxiety, depression, OCD, bipolar, ADHD, eating disorders, etc., autoimmune disorders, a whole slew of things. And I feel for you, Pile 4, the specific affirmations you need in helping you release this trauma and maintaining balance, maintaining good sense of well-being are to surrender and recognize your self-worth, self-esteem. And with surrender, I think for many of you it might be different, but in relation to health, it's very difficult, and it's difficult for me to even put it into words in which you will understand, because I've been in that situation too, where I'm like, I'm not going to surrender to my pain. I had a health issue. I had a lot of chronic health issues, and I was like, I'm not giving up. I'm not surrendering this. I do not accept this. But I guess it's not as simple as that. It doesn't mean to surrender, you will let go of trying and give up, but more accepting the pain and the discomfort, whether physical or emotional, as an experience that you need to go through in life, as something temporary, because it is temporary. All experiences are temporary. And accepting that need to always be happy and always be in good times. And I feel this will give you immense strength. This is what's kind of holding you back, because you feel like you're looking at situations in your life a little bit with negativity, like these darker times are coming to me. But once you surrender to the idea that things come in and go out and flow in, and it's not so much are they negative experiences, are they bad things, is it bad luck happening to me, it's just that it's an experience coming through, it's something I'm just feeling right now, right here, right now, and it's gonna pass by. Just really using that affirmation for whatever you're going through, Pile 4. Like, this is happening right now. I'm gonna let it pass through me. I'm gonna let it happen. I accept it. Just practicing that and seeing what happens. Okay? Because let me tell you right now, honestly, I feel like you're such a unique and special, talented person, and maybe your full potential has not yet been realized. And it's probably some like karmic kind of lesson, like I mentioned before, but you've got to learn how to surrender and learn how to take care of number one, which is you. Learn those lessons and accept the challenges that come your way in order to realize this potential and fully live out this potential that you have in this life. Okay? So making sure that you're not letting anybody take that away from you. That you're not letting anybody tell you that you don't belong, that you need to try harder, okay? It's not about trying harder for you. It's about grounding yourself right now, Pile 4. You've done so much and honestly have gained so much experience in this life and have had to go through more than so many other people around you. You're an extremely strong individual. You've had so many situations thrown at you, and recognize that right now. Take a minute and just pat yourself on the back. I'm going to do it for you. You're you're an amazing, amazing person, and you can honestly do so much to help people in this world, also realize that self-esteem. Once you surrender to the need for judgment of every situation and judgment of yourself, you're going to be able to follow your dreams and live that fullest potential. You're going to honestly grow like an effing caterpillar into a butterfly after this. Like, this is probably like your dark night of the soul, like one of your most pivotal trauma experiences in your life, trauma recovery. But you will make it through, Pile 4. However long it takes, you will make it through, and you will show others the way here. This is going to be a pivotal part in your life here, in this radical change. So amazing things are coming your way, Pile 4. And I didn't just say that to everybody. Definitely a big bright light like the sun is in store. Success is in store for you, Pile 4. You just need to believe in yourself, because it's right around the corner here. Alrighty. Thank you so much for listening to me, Pile 4. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please feel free to leave a comment below or subscribe, like this video, whatever you feel is appropriate for you. And I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.